This video is sponsored by Boxu. When it comes to the end of One Piece, we all know Luffy's gonna become the Pirate King, but who's gonna stand at the top of the ladder on the Marine side? How's it going, everybody? It's Zach, welcome back. Today, I wanna have a conversation on the future leaders of the Marines. Who's gonna end up as the final Fleet Admiral, which Marines will reach the Admiral position, and just in general, what are the current Marines gonna be up to? And we're gonna break all that down, but first off, the King Pirates crew is over 36,000 members. If you're new to the crew, say hi in the comments and let me know what your favorite One Piece arc is. And if you're not yet part of the crew and want to keep up with our One Piece conversations, hit that subscribe button and join us on the adventure. But getting back on topic, let's just jump into the conversation on the final Fleet Admiral. This of course is a very important position. It's the person that's going to be leading the next generation of the Marines. And honestly, to me, there's really only two candidates that are really possible, and that is Smoker and Kobe. Realistically, there are other people that are qualified, but I think in terms of motivation and narrative, these are the only two people that make sense. Both of them are very prominent characters in the story. They're two of the first Marines we meet as well. Kobe, of course, we meet right off the bat. He's one of the first characters that's introduced. We even meet him before Zoro. And when we first meet him, he's just this little dorky kid that gets saved by Luffy. But not only does he get saved by Luffy, he's also inspired after seeing Luffy's conviction towards chasing his dream. And because of that, he decides to chase his own dream of becoming a Marine. And since then, he's trained his ass off with Garp, had probably the biggest glow up in the series, and is probably still nowhere near as strong as Luffy. Smoker, on the other hand, is actually quite the opposite. He was actually way stronger than Luffy pre-time skip. As a matter of fact, he even had Luffy captured at Town, but unfortunately for him, Dragon decided to pay child support that day. At Alabasta as well, he could have probably defeated Luffy, but Crocodile and Ace were involved, and then the time skip happened and Luffy is now an absolute monster. So honestly, strength-wise, both of them are probably nowhere near Luffy's level, but while strength is definitely important for the Fleet Admiral position, what I'm really looking for is motivation and narrative. And as of right now, I think out of Smoker and Kobe, I think Kobe has a much stronger case. Even though right now he doesn't even really treat Luffy like an enemy, he's more of a stan, I still think Kobe makes the most sense as someone to lead the next generation. If you look at his character, not only has it been highlighted that he's really kind-hearted and really wants to help people, but he's also shown very strong conviction towards leading the Marines. Of course, originally all he wanted to do was join the Marines, but then eventually at Water 7, he told Luffy that he's gonna become an Admiral. So with that alone, Kobe at the very least is gonna be an Admiral at the end of the story, and I can easily see him just taking his goal one step further and becoming the Fleet Admiral. Because honestly, the type of person Kobe is a perfect fit as the future leader. He's somebody that suffered because of pirates when he was serving under Alvida and just getting bullied, but at the same time he also got saved by Luffy, so he also knows that not all pirates are bad. And also in that arc, he saw the dark side of the Marines with Captain Morgan. Before he even joined the Marines, he realized that the Marines were corrupted and it wasn't this perfect justice. So because he has that point of view, I feel like his justice is going to be very balanced and just straight up focusing on helping people. We also have to remember he was trained by Garp, which is not only helpful for his strength, but also his ideology. Garp is one of the Marines that we like. He's a good person. He realizes there's corruption within the Marines. So much so that he refuses to advance beyond Vice Admiral to not serve under the Celestial Dragon. So Kobe training with Garp, I think not only helped him get stronger, but also develop his ideology and justice. And at the end of the day, time and time again in the story, we've seen that Kobe just cares about people. I think his moment at Marineford was a defining moment for his character. In that moment, he was willing to put his life on the line because he wanted to end the suffering. He didn't care that on the other side were pirates, he just wanted to end the unnecessary bloodshed. And if he had to sacrifice his life against an admiral, he was willing to do so. So I think in terms of ideals and motivation, Kobe's a perfect candidate for Fleet Admiral. And honestly, we can't sleep on his strength either because he's grown pretty quickly. In just a couple of years, he went from this scrawny little kid to an actually strong person. His observation hockey is elite, and at the end of the day, he's only 18 years old. And that's another thing that helps his case. If you're gonna have a Fleet Admiral that opposes Luffy as a Pirate King, it should be somebody his age. And Kobe, who's pretty much the first person Luffy meets on his adventure, is the perfect candidate for me. Smoker, on the other hand, I don't think it's impossible he becomes the Fleet Admiral. Along with Kobe, he's probably one of the most developed Marine characters, but personally, I see his story heading in a different direction. But first, we're gonna take a quick snack break thanks to our sponsor, Boxu. Guys, I'm so excited to talk about the sponsor because Boxu is a Japanese snack box delivery company. I'm a huge foodie myself. One of my most unforgettable trips that I still think about pretty much like all the time is when I went to Japan 1.5 years ago. And now thanks to Boxu, I get to finally have a taste of that again without having to travel across the world. Inside this box, there's a variety of premium and authentic snacks and teas. Boxu also ships worldwide, and if you're in the US like me, it's gonna be free shipping. And here's the thing, Boxu is a monthly subscription service. With your first box, you're gonna get a variety of everything so you could try everything out. But as you get more boxes, there's gonna be a different theme to each box. And here's the thing I love about about Japanese and Asian snacks, there's just flavors that you're not gonna get anywhere else. So this is an edamame senbei here. That's delicious. You can really tell like these are really high quality snacks. I'm not even saying this because I'm sponsored, but these are really good. Honestly, when I first heard about this sponsorship opportunity, I was just so excited to get the sample of the box. If you want to get your own Japanese snack box, check out the link in the description. You can actually use my code KING20 to get 20% off your first box. So take advantage of this great limited time offer and happy eating. But back to Smoker, although he's been shown to be a good person in the story, his idea of justice is still very different from Kobe's. Like when we first meet him, Oda makes it very clear that he's a good person. We had that iconic ice cream scene where you have this little girl run into Smoker with the ice cream and Smoker looks very scary, so we think he's gonna be a bad Marine, but he's actually not bothered at all, gives her some money to go buy some more ice cream. So from that interaction alone, we know that he's a good person at heart, but at the same time, he was shown to be very merciless towards pirates. After Luffy and the Straw Hats are able to run away from them, he just relentlessly pursues them. So although Smoker's a good guy, he's nothing like an Akainu, his sense of justice was still very stubborn. But since then, he's gone through several events that has really changed his perspective and grown his character. Alabasta was really the first eye-opener for him, where he watched Luffy save the kingdom going up against Crocodile, somebody who works for the world government. Also, Luffy straight up saves his life in the arc, kind of changing his perspective on pirates. So just him seeing that alone definitely started to change his perspective. But then you also had the world government covering up the situation and giving him credit, which he was absolutely pissed about. So with that element, his sense of justice probably gets a little more clouded. I think in that moment, he probably realizes the world government is a little more corrupt than he thought. And this, of course, eventually leads to Punk Hazard, where he pretty much teams up with the Straw Hats. In that moment, he straight up decided, I'm gonna team up with the Straw Hats, even though they're pirates, because I have to save my men and the children. There's also a lot of symbolism in Punk Hazard if you want to dive deeper into it, like the line they had drawn separating the pirates and the Marines. So I think for Smoker's character arc, it's all kind of building up for him to eventually betray the Marines. It'll probably come down to this final war where he realizes that the Marines are just fighting on the wrong sides, so he decides to fight with the Straw Hats. Now, I'm not saying Smoker's gonna full on become a Straw Hat or become a pirate. Most likely he's just gonna be a temporary ally and might even go back to the Marines afterwards. But either way, because that's what I expect from Smoker's character arc, I don't see him being the Fleet Admiral or even an Admiral. I think either he's gonna end up just leaving the Marines forever and just do his own thing out in the seas, or he actually rejoins the Marines after Kobe kind of fixes everything and he just stays as a Vice Admiral. Kind of becoming like the new Garp, but he's not really doing it because he hates Kobe or anything like that. It'll be more so that he could just have the freedom to do whatever he wants. But with that being said, let's talk about the Admirals and who will be the final Admirals of the story. I'm expecting it to stay as this 3 Admiral structure. It'd be kind of weird to just completely change it up. But as for who's gonna be an Admiral at the end of the story, there's really only one person I'm pretty confident in, and that's X-Drake. With X-Drake being a worst generation member, kind of part of Luffy's generation, I think it makes sense that he leads the next generation of Marines. He's also one of the few younger, higher ranking Marines that we know. And of course, there's the sword element, which personally I believe the Randy Choi theory, which is that sword was created by Garp to go up against the world government. So I think at the end of the story, when it's all said and done, X-Drake is gonna have a lot of accomplishments. Kobe's gonna be the Fleet Admiral as well. Him and Kobe already have that relationship, and X-Drake's already a pretty strong guy, so I feel like he's perfectly fitting for one of the Admiral spots. Besides X-Drake though, there's not really any guesses that I'm confident in. There's a lot of good candidates like Kizaru and Fujitora. Both of those guys are insanely strong. They're already Admirals, so they're definitely qualified. They both also seem like good people. Fujitora we know is a good person. Kizaru, he might be on some stuff, but he seems pretty chill. But the thing is, for both of them, they're kind of boomers. By the end of the story, are they still gonna be Admirals, especially if there's a time skip? Both of them are already in their 50s. Are they gonna retire at some point? Also, like motivation wise, what reason do they have to stick around? Fujitora only joined in the first place because of the draft, and by the end of the story, the Marines should be pretty good, so Fujitora might just want to retire. Kizaru, on the other hand, we really have no idea what his motivations are. Honestly, it's possible he keeps fighting for the Marines until the end, and maybe in the end he just ends up on the losing side and is forced to retire. So honestly, Fujitora and Kizaru, I don't see either of them still being Admirals. Greenbow, on the other hand, I find very interesting, and I think it's very possible he still stays as an Admiral. I know we know nothing about the guy, we don't even know what he looks like, but based off his silhouette and his speech, he feels kind of younger. I don't know what it is, but it does feel like he's a good person. Maybe because he was having a chill conversation with Fujitora, who we know is good, but personally, I just have a gut feeling that Greenbow is a younger dude that's a good person. person. So honestly, I'm gonna lock him in as one of the final admirals. Pretty much made that judgment completely based off a profile picture, but it is what it is. But besides Green Bull, even if we slot him in, there's still one more open spot, and at this point there's really not a lot of candidates left. Kuzan of course is an option if he does end up coming back. I do think he's still a good person and didn't just end up turning evil and joining the Blackbeard pirates. Most likely he's either working with the revolutionaries or maybe Sword, and he is a little younger than like a Kizaru and Fujitora, but still the idea of him coming back as an admiral I'm a little iffy on. I feel like if you're gonna have some new faces, might as well just get a bunch of new people. Technically Green Bull is new as well, but we literally haven't seen the guy yet. But yeah, for Kuzan, him coming back as an admiral, it's probably more likely than Kizaru and Fujitora sticking around. But also, if Kobe is the fleet admiral, I can't see Kuzan serving under him unless we had a massive time skip. And again, at that point, Kuzan will be kind of old as well, so you might as well just get a new character in there. So honestly, the only other candidates that I like are Tokikake and Gion. You might not even remember those two characters, but they're currently vice admirals. Both of them were nearly selected to be admirals, so they're definitely very strong. I really like their design as well. I'm pretty sure Oda got inspiration from real life actors. But yeah, the fact that they're in the story, I feel like Oda has to use them one way or another. So honestly, why not? I'm gonna lock in Gion as my third pick for the final admiral. We know she's strong, she seems younger as well, and let's get a woman in there so it's not just a sausage fest. But yeah, those are my picks for admirals, and besides them, there's not many other marines that we really should care about. Most of the vice admirals are pretty irrelevant, and it's not like they could get promoted any higher besides admiral. As I mentioned, I think the older generation should be pretty much retired. Akainu was probably locked up in prison for doing some egregious stuff, and honestly, the only other prominent marines are Hina, Helmeppo, and Tashigi, and I could probably see all three of them reaching vice admiral. Hina's already pretty highly ranked, she doesn't need to climb too far to get there. Helmeppo and Tashigi, on the other hand, both are very young, they've grown pretty fast as well. I know some people are gonna get mad at the idea that Smoker's on the same level as Helmeppo, but you can't use marine ranks as a power scaling system. We literally have somebody like Garp on the same level as Maynard, who got bodied by Bartolomeo. So for me, Helmeppo, Hina, and Tashigi getting to vice admiral seems reasonable. And one aspect that I think would be pretty fun is Tashigi and Smoker being on the same rank. Tashigi will probably still be trying to treat Smoker like a superior, and Smoker will be telling her to stop. I think that's a pretty funny scenario that could happen. That's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Got another video for you right here to check out. Check out my links in the description. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.